Thank you so much, David. So it's my pleasure to be the second batter in our three-part presentation here. And so David gave you an excellent view of what IUS is all about and the national scale. And you saw many national examples. What I'm really going to focus on with you now is delivering observations in the Northwest region. All right, so you saw this slide, and it was much more conceptual. I want to make it be real and specific to our region. The consistent national capability that these regional associations can give to a national perspective just makes so much sense. But this is the part that I'm going to concentrate on you with now, is how NANUS, a regional association, engages with local and diverse stakeholders. And that is who you all, many of you in this room, really represent. And that's my message to you. All right, so first of all, this is the NANUS region. It's beautiful, and it's also quite diverse. We have urban harbors like Puget Sound and the Columbia River with a lot of maritime trade. We have more rural and open coastal environments on our outer coasts of Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. Very different environments. We also have an enormous number of very real, sustained human interactions with these environments. Humans are part of this ecosystem. This is not distinct. We have long legacies of tribal, industry, and recreational folks who are harvesting and being sustained by our natural resources, as you see, shellfish. Some of our conditions offshore are some of the most dangerous out there, as you can see by this Coast Guard vessel. We have very active geological processes in our area, as you see by that lower graphic and the communities perched there. And the other element there showing the girl interacting with the fish trap is that we're in this ecosystem together, and it is our understanding, our common understanding of how best to nurture it, that we truly nurture our nest. So this is the diversity of the NANUS region. But we also have the fortunate opportunity to use a lot of very exciting techniques, as you've been hearing about, and as many of you are involved with, technologies that give us insight to those regions. The coastal HF radar that we have along part of the coast, primarily in Oregon. Buoys and gliders. This one happens to be off of La Push. But the one thing that I want to emphasize is that when we do things, we don't just do one item on a buoy. This one happened to be funded by a foundation through the University of Washington. We've partnered with NOAA PMEL to put their sensors on them. There's also an autonomous glider that goes around the buoy. We've partnered with the Pacific Ocean Shelf Tracking System to put receivers that detect salmon migrations. So we're really making an integrated ecosystem level observing system and optimizing the information we get out from that. This is our goal. And of course, the diverse techniques that we have for understanding our shorelines, and this is one of NANUS's early successes, was that the state of Oregon and the state of Washington, through two state agencies, DOGAMI, the Oregon Department of Geology and Mineral Industries, and the Washington Department of Ecology came together, and instead of just doing things their own idiosyncratic way, said, let's do this in a common manner so that we can make assessments along the coastline together. So we've already had some really good success stories, but the question that faced us as we started to stand up NANUS is, how do we deliver observations to the Northwest region? What and for what purpose? By whom and how best? Okay, those are challenging questions. This is not a trivial item. Well, what do you have to start with? You have to start with the people, right? So that engaging with our diverse local stakeholders. I know you can't read this, but what this represents is the, at present, 45-member governing council that NANUS has engaged with and who have signed our memorandum of agreement. And I just want to put a plug in that if you want to be a NANUS member, It is free. It is legally non-binding, but it does require your signature, and memorandum and agreements are in the back of the room. Amy Springer there can help you with one, and you can be part of our governance structure. This governance structure is real. This isn't just happenstance up here. These are people who attend meetings and give us input, help us to define priorities. These are color-coded because I wanted to show the diversity. We have industries, we have tribal as well as federal, state, and local governments. We have nonprofits, and we have academic and research institutions. And sometimes you've heard IUS is being labeled, oh, it's just an academic exercise. It is not. It is very, very well integrated, and certainly here in NANUS, we are extremely proud of that. That group of individuals and the governance structure that we've worked out in a democratic fashion with representational executive council they help us every year we write a proposal, identify where are our priorities. NANUS doesn't want to recreate the wheel. We don't want to do things that people are already doing. We want to be that glue or that helpful bit that can take a need and get it in a way that's going to serve one of our stakeholders, one of our members, in a way that's more efficient and more effective, okay? That takes everybody's input to identify it. I might not come up with the right idea, but those 45 people definitely will. This list that David went over, maritime operations, ecosystem impacts and assessments, fisheries, biodiversity, coastal hazards, and climate, was in the very first multi-year proposal that we submitted to the National IUS office. And it had that very quote in there that these were the issues having the greatest impact on Pacific Northwest citizenry, ecosystems, and that we believed were amenable to being substantively improved, okay? So that was the real message there. We can start to make a difference. And we rely on our governing council every year to keep giving us feedback. How are we doing on these things? And these are high-level words here, and this afternoon you're gonna be hearing examples, some of which we've done, and we want your ideas for where are the places that we should go. All right, so we had two strategies. They're pretty easy. Integrate what we have. And that doesn't mean just the widgets. That means the people. That means the technologies. So let's bring together what we have. We've been mentioning partnerships all morning, and we thrive on partnerships. I don't think partnerships are something to do just because budgets are tight. I think partnerships are the right thing to do regardless of the budget, because that's where you get the synergies, that's where you get the good cross-fertilization of ideas, that's where you get the efficiencies. But just what you have isn't always what you need. So we have to be strategic about what else we need. And we link those back to those priorities, okay? That's a cycle that's really been working well. So NANUS has done this, and here's a perfect example of integrating what we have in a full sense. You'll notice that there are two different logos up here, and my clicker doesn't work. The first one is NANUS, you can see that up there. The second one is OOI. That stands for the Ocean Observatories Initiative. OOI is a program directed by the National Science Foundation, another very major ocean observing initiative. IUS, you've heard about. They are both going to have assets in our region. These should not be two pillars going on independently, and we have not. We have meetings together. This conceptual model was drafted together. We are not going to put buoys where their plan is for buoys. We are going to work together in siting these. We work together consistently to come up with the best plan based on the scientific input, the processes in our large marine ecosystem and the California current system that are going to give us this underlying understanding of the system. All right? By doing that, that enables NANUS to be as efficient as we can. We always need more. We always request more than what we get that there's budget for, but we can really sharpen and hone in on, okay, you know what? There was no measurement off of La Push, Washington, and we went after that. And we went after it in a creative way. We went through a foundation. We leveraged the heck out of everything. But these are the kinds of things we can do. You can tell I have a lot of passion for this, but I think it's because The people in Nanu's really care about this, and we want to do it in a way that makes sense. And when you start doing it and you get some success, it's really exciting. The other thing is that once you start doing this, you find out that you have a lot of friends that come out of the woodwork that say, wow, this is pretty cool. What this map is showing you are dots. Each one of those dots is an observing asset. They're color-coded, okay? Green, yellow, and red. The NOAA IUCE office funds the RAs to do observations as well as all of those other services. And you can see that if there were green dots on there, that would be funded 100% by the NOAA IUCE office. Yellow is funded partially, and red is funded 0%, okay? There are no green dots on here, but you see an awful lot of yellow and red dots on there because we've got people who have, never even heard of NANUS, but they see the data delivery system that you're going to see in just a few minutes, and they'll say, wow, we want to be part of that. That's a great idea. So we're already integrating these things. So this extreme level of leverage and linkage so that now you don't just go to one place to get one kind of data in another place, and Jonathan will tell you more about this, but you're seeing an overall composite picture. All right, how do we organize our people? People is what gets things done, right? And so people have different capabilities and perspectives. So NANUS has established 3 standing committees in addition to our observational component. One is our Data Management and Communications Committee, and Steve Usakai and Emilio Mayorga, Steve from Boeing and Emilio from UW, are co-chairs of that committee in our audience with us today. They lead an amazing team from a diversity of places, OSU, OHSU, state agencies, a team that works together on how to do all that data stuff that I don't have a clue how to do. And David and I take great pride that we have no idea how to do that stuff. We have another group, the Education and Outreach Group, and Amy Spranger in the back is our Education Outreach Specialist here in Washington State. She's joined by another person, Sarah Mikulak in Oregon, and they collectively work together with another committee chaired by Nancy Hunter of Oregon Sea Grant, who is working towards what are the education and outreach needs, okay? Then we have a third committee, the User Products Committee, and I'm going to be turning the floor over to Jonathan Allen from Dogami, who is the chair for that, who says, okay, we've got this information and we've got these needs. How are we going to start delivering this information? What are these products? What do people want to see? Do they want to see it like this? Okay, so they each have different perspectives, but as you can see in the center, that where it says TRICOM, these committees work comprehensively together. Some people are on 1 or more, or 2 or more committees. Every year they annually meet, they set priorities, they have an awful lot of communication, and it keeps it integrated and going. We think it's a great recipe for how we've made some progress. All right, so I've given you just a snippet on for what purpose, by whom, how best to do it. I'm going to just give you very quick examples. Jonathan's going to tell you a little bit more about them, but how best to get this out there. This is what we've done to date. We want your feedback on what we've done to date. We also want your ideas on how to make it better. The first thing is our website, or I guess I'm supposed to say web portal. I don't know the difference, but I know that one is bigger, but anyways. So this is a NANUS website, and it is your entry point. From here, you can get everywhere. Those little turquoise things across the top are our priority items. They're hyperlinked. If you click on those, they have theme pages to say like ocean acidification. And it's not just our ocean acidification page. We link to the NOAA PMEL, and we link to the shellfish industry information on it. So we really have the capacity to build from one portal a lot of information. Some of our noteworthy things, the NANUS visualization system I'll mention in a minute. Our memorandum of agreement right here, you can download it and sign it if you don't do it here. And so this is our website. The NANUS visualization system NVS, as we're supposed to call it, is our pride and joy, and I'm not going to say anything more about that because that's what Jonathan will introduce to you, but it's how you access and visualize the data. We have also had the pleasure and the honor to work with several groups to tailor a user product to a specific need. This is an example. We worked with the National Estuarine Research Reserve System and Kathy Angel through the Coastal Training Program here in the state of Washington Department of Ecology, did a lot of outreach to the shellfish grower industry and said, okay, you need real-time data. What format do you want it in? Do you want it in Fahrenheit? Do you want it in Celsius? What's the time record you want? And so work together to optimize the data that you can get through our NVS system, as well as in a specifically tailored application. One quick example. We've also given a lot of thought into how do we deliver this. Okay, not everybody sits in front of a computer. Unfortunately, I spend more and more of my time that day. But you know what? The people who are interacting with the environment, they may be on a boat, they may be on a shoreline, they may be on a dock. And more, we have these wonderful mobile applications, these Androids and iPhones, and Nanus, working with that wonderful DMAC team, has put together these apps that you can get. They're free, and you can access the data. You can scroll through these graphics, and you'll hear more about those. For people who are on the move, first responders, they don't want to be calling, hey, can you log onto your computer? It's right there in their hand. And lastly, learning tools. If we do not educate society, if we do not educate the next generation, we're missing the point. And so Nanus also works with our regional scientists and information givers to collect information and to produce some useful learning tools. We have lesson plans. We even have a competition for teachers to send us lesson plans right now using Nanus data so that they're engaged in this. We have videos that lead people through how does hypoxia happen, what are some of the processes. So these learning tools are another important endeavor. So in summary, that's making Nanus regional for you here in the Pacific Northwest. And that's what we're doing to date, very briefly. But I need to conclude my talk with one really important aspect of Nanus, and it really tied with what both of our keynote speakers, Laura and John, in both his words and what he has heard Kevin say. And that's to explain to you the Nanus logo. You know, this isn't even really a logo. This is a work of art. It was drawn for us by a Tsimshian tribal member, Tom Guthrie. He used to work at the University of Washington. And this is four critters to the Pacific Northwest. The one, I always like to start with this one, with the teeth on the bottom. See that hole there? That's a blowhole. That's an orca, a toothed whale, okay? And the orca is the protector of the ocean. The one to its left, it also has teeth, and it has a long, thin head. That is the wolf. That's the protector of the land, all right? Up on the top, there are actually two birds. One has a hooked beak, and one has a smooth beak. The hooked beak is an eagle. That's the protector of the sky. The one on the left is the raven. And in much of the Salish and Pacific Northwest tribal lore, the raven is the trickster. And from my perspective, listening to Tom and his explanation, to me that's entropy. And the red circle around this is the ecosystem. See, there's a red circle around all four of those critters. He said, that's the ecosystem. And at the center are the water waves. He said, I kind of think that's what you guys are doing, isn't it? And so that circle of protection, that understanding of that very connected ecosystem, this symbology for Nanus is real, and I think we're putting it into practice, and it's my honor to be able to explain Tom's art, but also to give you a tiny snippet into Nanus. And I'm going to conclude now and turn it over to Jonathan Allen to tell us about how we're delivering the data to you. Thank you.